Hey there, Mark Brown. AI. Everyone is talking about AI. If you're a speaker or presenter, how can you use AI? And quick disclaimer, Mark and I do not pretend to say we have it all figured out, but it is a tool. And what Mark and I have experienced and talking to other people using it, it's just like any other tool. You need the skilled laborer to use the tool and know how to use the tool. So we're bringing our perspective as a speech coach, as a presentation coach to the AI world and how we use it.
Yeah, and the thing is, if we understand that AI can be a tool, there's no end to how it can serve us well if we maintain control.
All right, let's check it out.
Anyone can give a presentation. Few deliver unforgettable presentations. What's the difference? You're about to find out. Welcome to the Unforgettable Presentations Podcasts with your hosts, world champion speakers and coaches Mark Brown.
Your life tells a story, and there's someone out there who needs to hear it.
And Darren LaCroix.
Stage time, stage time, stage time.
Ready for some powerful presentation ahas? Let's dive right in.
Hey there, Mark Brown. We don't recommend just saying, hey, AI, write my speech, write my presentation. I know some people do that and have used it. So people who are maybe have to give a presentation and aren't necessarily a professional presenter, and that's okay. That's okay. It's a tool. So we as professionals, whether you're a corporate presenter, professional speaker, emerging speaker, we need to use it skillfully to help us get our points from our stories and our mindset and tap into our experience in order to get it across. If you just use it per se, and Mark and I were playing around beforehand, our friend Paul put in Darren LaCroix intro to just see what ChatGPT came up with. And apparently it took a little bit from Mark, a little bit from Ed's, because I don't stutter and I don't have the golden gavel, and use some of your words. It was fascinating. So as a idea, we have to look at it this way. It's a tool. It's a tool, but it's how we use it as to if it can benefit us. So if you're using it for marketing or copywriting, you just lost all excuses. You don't have any anymore. I'm using it. We'll talk about some of the things I came up with so far in using it. Now, we're not going to talk about marketing and copywriting, but it is a way to use AI. We're just going to focus on the presentation portion of it, connecting with your audience, getting your story across. Mark?
Yes, and please bear in mind, as Darren said, we don't claim to be AI experts by any means, but we're finding ways to use it as a tool to help us to bring ourselves more effectively to our presentations. I always say this, you have to bring every bit of who you are to every presentation. And I've been told, Darren, that AI can actually learn to write in our style, which is a different conversation. But don't forget, every audience deserves the best of you, your perspective, your experience, your wisdom, the lessons you have learned, and the mistakes you have made to serve them in the best way possible. But Darren, we can use AI to help us. Let's talk about that for a minute or two. And we could spend a lot of time on this. But I think today it'd be wise for us to maybe touch on 3 ideas that would be helpful to those who are with us and how they can use AI effectively within their presentation, and maybe even a look at how they can use it outside the presentation, but still help them to reach their audiences effectively. What do you think?
Yeah, Mark, there's one little bonus that ties it all together and comes back to what we do and how we do it that I think is critical. So technically we're going to talk about 4, but it's really 3 ways, but the 4th one integrates to all the other 3. However, before we dive into that, Mark, quick shout out to us, episode 200. Come on. We have not missed a week. That's amazing.
Yeah, wow.
That's amazing with you and I and our travel schedule and stuff like that. So I'm pretty proud, I gotta say. So, and for those of you listening, Mark and I also pray. So we got some divine help along the way too. I don't want to make it sound like it's all ours or all us.
Well, and really quickly on that note, we had the idea for the podcast back in summer of 2019,
Mhm.
and we encourage you to be bold in this way. We made the commitment to do the podcast, so much so we were at the Toastmasters International Convention in Denver,
Mhm.
and I did a keynote, a general session that year. And I said from the stage, we will do the Unforgettable Presentations podcast, and we will start it. And once I put it out there, there's no turning back. So a little bit of shout out there. We're happy to reach number 200. And those who've been here for day one, thank you. Those who are brand new, welcome. And we hope you will get more value from us as the weeks go by. Darren, now to our topic at hand.
By the way, Mark, you didn't even know this, but this week my team set up a LinkedIn group. So we have a podcast, Unforgettable Presentations podcast group. So right now we're just getting things up and running. We're going to test it out. We're going to try it for a few weeks and see if we can get some traction. But we'd love you to join or request to join the Unforgettable Presentations podcast group and start off by just telling us, what was your favorite episode? And if you have questions, that's a place to put in a question, and that might become an episode as well. All right. So, Mark, let's dive into the subject at hand. I love what Ford Sakes says. This helped me just get my arms around what is ChatGPT or whatever AI service you choose to use. But he says, treat ChatGPT as an intern. I love this because, it's somebody that you can ask to go out and find and research and do things for you. And if we look at it that way, it's also going to let us know that if you had an intern working for you and they bring work back to you, you're not just going to read it and deliver it as a presentation. You're going to check the facts. You're going to make sure it resonates with you and your story. You're going to take the time to read over and then Marcusize it. Darrenize it. Like, you still got to make it your own. Yeah. It's going to save you time. It's going to get you there faster. But yet the important part is then personalizing what you get. And as we've learned, if you haven't used one of these services yet, the prompting matters. And then the reprompting, and then the re-prompting, make it funnier, make it deeper, make it brighter, make it more positive by asking these prompts. It will actually give you a different version. I'm working on a one sheet right now for my new keynote, All In, and we'll let you know what we came up with as we go here. But Ford also says speakers and presenters won't be replaced by AI. AI will replace speakers and presenters who don't use AI. Think about it. We're not going to be replaced by AI, but it's almost an essential tool now to keep yourself relevant, to keep yourself out there, to create podcasts or blog posts or post on LinkedIn or wherever you spend your time.
Yep. And please understand, I know there are individuals who will say, no, I don't need it. I do my own thing. And that's fine. We aren't telling you that you absolutely must, but we're asking you to just open your mind to the idea, how can I use this as a tool to help me bring who I am and what I offer to a world that needs it?
Thank you, Mark. All right, so way number one, foundational phrases. If you follow us, if you've read our book, Deliver Unforgettable Presentations, if you listen to this podcast, if you've been to one of our workshops, by the way, we have one coming up, Own the Stage, coming up in Las Vegas. You've got to check this out. It's also going to be hybrid as well, but we're going to do it live in Las Vegas. If you're interested in how do I get to that next level? How do I up my presentation? Well, join us and we're going to go deep into the difference between good, great, and unforgettable. But we're going to give you a checklist. And this is what Mark and I look for each time. What's really cool is we have 5 VIPs and you're going to watch them. So there's only 5. It's limited to 5. But you're going to literally watch as we apply to their stories, to their presentations, this checklist. You're going to see the presentation, the story morph over the 3 days. So whether you're a VIP or you just excited and ready to be all in, join us for that. But one of the things that we talk about is foundational phrases. If you want to make it sticky, we say, all right, step 1, figure out your message. But step 2, before you even write the speech, before you tell the story, what is the sticky phrase? Now, you may have heard us talk about this before, but we never had AI around to tell you how to use AI to come up with that. And we got to give credit, learned about this idea from Linda Marie Miller, one of our friends, one of our Stage Time members, a platinum member, but she used it because that was her creative sticky point where she just wasn't great at coming up with foundational phrases. So she started using ChatGPT and realized, now what is a foundational phrase? 10 words or fewer, has rhythm, could rhyme, but 10 words or fewer. Some of the famous ones that Mark and I are known for, mine, Stage Time, Stage Time, Stage Time. It's got rhythm, it's got clarity, 6 words, and gets my point across. Now, I have to have stories that set up that foundational phrase, but the phrase makes that emotional memory peg in the audience's mind that they take home with them. And if they remember the phrase, which is sticky, which puts that handle on it, now they're more likely to remember the whole principle, the whole story, and all the things we said. So it encapsulates your message in a sticky, rhythmic phrase.
And I'm glad you said that, a sticky rhythmic phrase. You can actually ask ChatGPT for your phrase using that exact prompt. What we've learned is prompts really drive what ChatGPT and other AI sources of that nature will provide for you. And the more specific you make your prompts, the better the options you get in return. And there's also the option to regenerate the response if you like something else. But just finding out what would that phrase be. And what I like about the exercise, Darren, is the fact that it literally prompts us to really think, how can I leave the audience with a phrase that they hear 3 or 4 times in my presentation that becomes memorable, that has the rhyme or rhythm, and you can literally ask ChatGPT or the AI tool. I'll say the AI tool you have. Please, you can say a 10-word phrase or 10-word statement, rhythmic or rhyming, that's punchy, that's edgy, that's funny. You could ask for it in the form of a limerick if you want, but the more detail you give it with the intent of, and be very clear on the objective you give it to deliver a particular message, it'll work on that for you like an intern who will search on the annals of literature to find a phrase that works for you. And quite frankly, what I like about this is you and I, Darren, have been using tools like wordhippo.com to find rhyming words, to find antonyms, synonyms, which has been very, very helpful. As an intern, the AI tool will do much of that for you and give you the results that much more quickly. But a good foundational phrase upon which you anchor your presentation, you can get that when you ask the AI tool to provide you based upon the parameters you give it in the prompts. The prompts are key here.
And Mark, I haven't really recommended this, but just thinking it through as you're talking, I'd even recommend using WordHippo and ChatGPT. Because if you have a word that you're building a phrase around, let's say quit, don't quit, but we need your own interesting version of it. You might include in your prompt, use the word quit, or you go to WordHippo and you put in quit and it
synonyms
up with the rhymers, so you use the rhyming tab, and then you I need a phrase with quit and commit. And then you give that to ChatGPT. So using it together with another tool, especially as you're starting to figure out the prompt and how it works and how to redo it. And then, okay, make it funnier. Okay, make it 5 words. Okay, make it. And here's the key. ChatGPT is the fastest intern on earth.
Yes.
But then you got to read it and it may give you a better idea that fits more exactly with what you're trying to get across. So it may not give you the answer, but it's going to lead you more quickly closer to that gem that's in your head that resonates with you. And Mark, you know, we always have the test when we're doing this as a live workshop or in one of our core coaching calls each week. If somebody says something and then we hear a ooh, that's when we know we nailed it. That's boom. It's emotional. It connects. It gets it across. So we need to play around with it. We need to test it on our audiences before we say, that's my phrase. So it might be, that's my phrase 1.0, but then we go and constantly look. I remember, Mark, when I was doing the rope analogy, the 168 hours, and I had the rope and I had it separated into 1-inch segments of 168. And it was one of my attendees who was in my audience who just yelled out, your rope is their hope. Ooh. And I said, ooh. And of course, you know, I asked the person and made sure I had permission to use that. And then that became my phrase. So just because it's going to give you creativity quickly may not be the end result, but it's going to lead you down that line closer to that one that you own, that resonates with you, that you love. And if you love it, you're going to deliver it much more memorably.
Yes, I agree completely. And I've also found that sometimes when you ask ChatGPT or other AI to give you 10 options, you may get 10 good ones, maybe 8 good ones and 2 very good ones. But in the midst of all of that, something clicks and you combine what the AI has given you to what you feel inside your own heart. And then boom, you come up with a perfect foundational phrase for you. Is it easy enough to simply ask AI to give me 10, I'll pick one? Yes. And I'm sure people do that. But again, I always say, bring your personality to the presentation. And when, as Darren says, you combine and you test and you tweak it, you combine what the intern gives you with what you have, you may just come up with a perfect foundational phrase for your presentation.
All right. So that's way number one, creating foundational phrases, the sticky phrases. And by the way, for those of you who are Toastmasters, Mark, this year in the speech contest, the ones that I was at were not necessarily people who we coach, but I was a guest keynoter. I found that was one of the common missing elements.
Oh, really?
That would have made all the presentations much more sticky for the audience. So I think that's one of those ideas that we love spreading because it's just going to make it better. So let's go to way number 2, your speech title and points of wisdom. So if you follow us, you know, we teach Patricia Fripp's speech model where it's your one premise and then 3 points of wisdom, and each point of wisdom helps back up that premise. So what if you used ChatGPT to create a better speech title? Because if the title is good, the meeting planner is going to give you more attention. And Mark, I haven't even told you this story yet. I was got recommended by one of my friends, Katie Rigsby, thank you, Katie, to an event for property managers. And they were looking for another speaker. And the woman watched my 3 demo videos, 17 Minutes to Your Dream, Unforgettable Presentations, and Better Stories, Better Business. And she said, we love you. We love your energy, but none of those speeches fit our audience. And what they were looking for was motivation and self-development. And, you know, if you work for a company, they don't want you to hear 17 minutes to your dream because you're dreaming of working for another company. So I just thought it through. I listened to what she was saying and I said, well, I have another keynote that you didn't see, and it's called All In. And I could hear it. That's what I'm looking for. And I went on to describe it a little deeper. And it's 17 Minutes to Your Dream. It's just got a different title and slight tweaks. So it's primarily the same speech, but an event planner wants that title that they love, that's going to resonate with their people, that their people would be curious about. So when I was playing around with titles, here's what I came up with. And I'm just going to read this. And if you're watching the YouTube version of the podcast, you will see this on the screen. But this is literally when I don't remember the prompt, so forgive me. But Mark, it was you and me and Ed on a mastermind with Craig Valentine. And Ed typed it in, all in title option. So it came up with all in, embracing life and full commitment, all in, the power of total engagement, all in, your guide to fearless pursuit, going all in, the journey towards wholehearted living, all in, the art of unconditional commitment, all in. So it gave us a list of 10, and I'll be honest, I didn't really love any of them. But that's okay. That's part of the process. It's getting to that one. It's like the intern presenting you with options and like, no, but maybe I could combine it. And what I was really looking for was a subtitle, because the all in is super clear. And I know I didn't originate it, but for people looking for motivational speakers, I've been getting that sense over and over again. And my goal is to market it mostly in Vegas, all in theme, to differentiate myself. And Jennifer Lear, one of my Speakers Bureau agents, she said nobody in Vegas is promoting that as their keynote. So I didn't originate the idea, but yet sometimes we want to be unique and we want to be quirky and we want to be attention grabbing, and yet we forget clarity is more important. Mark?
I love the fact you mentioned clarity, Darren. And in honesty, here's also where AI can be helpful. They can help you to provide clarity, particularly if you limit the number of words it returns in response. You can ask it in 4 words or fewer, give me a title that expresses this idea. And you could do the same thing for a newsletter as well. But when you give it a parameter of number of words, it then gets creative. And when you add catchy or punchy or edgy as the adjective of the title you want, you might be surprised at the results that you get. Again, go back to be specific in what you asked for. But when you limit the number of words, it also helps you to compress what you want. And that's where the idea of rhythm and rhyme can really be helpful, because as Darren said, and as Darren has proven by experience, the meeting planners want a title that will catch their eye and say, yes, my people need that.
Yeah, it is definitely, again, a tool used. The prompting matters. It's got to resonate with you. But all in all, what Mark and I say over and over again is clarity, clarity, clarity. If you have to explain it, it's not clear, which is a really cool part of the Chat GPT and the prompting. You realize that, no, that's not what I meant. Well, that's what you told it. That's what you told it. So maybe you need to be clearer in what you're looking for. So if you see it go off in a tangent from what you really need, it just means we need to re-ask. We need to be more clear. Like you said, ask it for 3 words or 4 words or 5 words. Or if you're doing a one sheet, ask it for better takeaways or whatever that is. So it's a process, but what it does is it ramps it up to light speed in terms of the creative process. And then your points of wisdom. So if you say all in is my title, I need 3 points of wisdom. Now, AI may not be clear on what a point of wisdom is. Maybe it's just, I need 3 rock solid points.
Right.
3 words or fewer, for each point of wisdom. And then Mark, as we say, we need to match it.
Yeah.
How do you say that? So they're parallel. Yeah.
Yeah, rhythmically you match it. Yes, if you're going to use 3 words for the first point, you don't want 8 for the second and 2 for the third. You want the 3 points of wisdom to have some degree of rhythm to them to make them memorable as well from your presentation. But clarity really is key. Yeah.
So help you help your audience and help the meeting planner, because the meeting planner wants a better title. They want a good, clear title that they say, ooh, that's what my people need. And jumping forward to way number 3, analogies and metaphors. Mark, you and I had a little fun with this. I actually sent it on to Ford, the one that it came up with. I said, in Ford's sake's voice, just me. But are there analogies or metaphors that could help you? When Mark and I did this, we asked for a short story and it gave us characters. And again, a creative way to how can you use the intern to go do some pre-work for you in seconds. And if you don't like the analogy or metaphor, okay, make it shorter, make it longer, make it different, make it about a frisbee, make it about a goat. Think about your speech. What else are you going to talk about? Is there some other aspect of your speech that you can pull into the metaphor? The sponge, So, Mark, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like we said be a sponge, because be a sponge has become part of what Darren LaCroix does at Stage Time. And your newsletter has a be a sponge metaphor to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like you to think about, friends, is there a metaphor you frequently use in your presentations? And how could you use the AI or ask the AI or work with the AI to magnify the value and the impact of that metaphor? Could it be in a short story or anecdote? Have fun with it. You could use it to rhyme, ask it to do it in the form of a poem. Perhaps you could even ask it to write a song. I'm not sure. I've not tried that yet, but I do know people have used it in the form of a limerick. Again, you can be creative. What the AI can also do for us is to show us other creative ways to get our message across while still delivering solid content. So the ask I have of myself first, of Darren second, and of you third, is to really explore how widely can we use AI in what different areas of our presentation. When we say analogy or metaphor, we go back to our childhood. It could be anything from a superhero theme, particularly or cartoon character, particularly if you speak with young people or children, because some of our listeners and our viewers do speak to younger audiences. Think of the different ways you could use this tool to help you to enhance the experience of your audience while not diluting your content or your value. Just finding a new way to continue to hold their attention, because you know what? Let's face it, as time goes by, attention spans seem to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And Darren, you will address that in an upcoming workshop as well in Las Vegas, as far as new social media techniques are concerned. So think about that as well, my friends. How can I use the AI as a tool to help me find the right metaphor for my audience demographic? Again, a parameter in the prompt that'll really help you to get the results you want and cater specifically to your demographic.
Yeah, brilliant. So number one, you could even have your own analogy and metaphor. We'll put it into ChatGPT and say, can you make this funnier? Can you make this more intriguing? Can you add curiosity to this? So one way is to take what you have and just rethink it. Another way is, I love what you're saying, an analogy for real estate agents, analogy for accountants, now putting in that custom, who that audience is. The goal of it is to resonate so they understand from their world and from their perspective what you're trying to say about, let's say, if you and I were presenting, Mark, about what is a premise. Well, a premise is like a boom,
right,
listing or whatever it would be in their world. Now you're connecting it to something in their world. Mark, I don't know if you realize how brilliant and how important that could be right there.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, I find this exciting because we can really customize much of our content with this tool for specific demographics. I have spoken to young people for decades, Darren, ages 13 to 18. I've also spoken in the real estate space, in the trucking industry space, in the education space. I've spoken on leadership, communication, teamwork, inspiration across a wide variety of industries. And having the tool, which will allow me to just tweak one part of my presentation to accommodate that demographic, that's customization tool. It's a customization tool that we can use to shorten the process, but still deliver the product. We shorten the process, but deliver the product. I just
There's a phrase right there. Bam.
Shorten the process to deliver the product. I don't know where I'll use it, but I'm writing it down.
I know you don't know where you use it, but don't refuse it. Boom.
Boom. Okay, he rhymed too. I love it.
Yeah. And just, Mark, please put in the show notes, summary, snippets, if you will, that using it as a tool to customize to your audience. That's brilliant. Definitely. Brilliant. All right. And we also promised at the beginning, okay, what's the way we tie this together that we take what we get from the intern and then make it powerful. And this is our bonus way or bonus secret of the critical power of qualified feedback. So whether it is from the audience or from a coach, what we do in Stage Time is every week we have our members deliver a presentation, or we do a story dig. That's another one. That's another week. We'll talk about that. But Mark, we have them deliver their story, and then we give feedback from our perspective from decades of doing this. For our event, Own the Stage, we're going to have 5 VIPs where we give them the feedback from our experience. They're tapping into 50 years of experience, at least 25, that we're tapping in and saying, okay, that's good, but I want to hear the mentor saying that to you, not telling. And whatever the example, we have it over and over again. So we have the idea, but we're too close to it to understand the most important part of a presentation, which is the thought process in the listener's mind. When you say this, what are we thinking? When you say this, what are we thinking? So understanding the thought process, because of our experience, we can kind of know. And when we do the live presentation, Mark, or the workshop, whether it's live or hybrid, we test it out in the audience. We say, okay, try it this way and let's see how it lands right then and there. Nope, that didn't land. Okay, what are we missing? What are you thinking of? So I love working with you. And I love, most importantly, working with that live audience in front of us so we can help the VIP go light years ahead on their own story with their own examples or analogies or metaphors. And we have never done one of these workshops where before and after was not dramatically different and everyone could tell. And the 1 or 2 times out of the thousands of times, it was because the person wasn't truly open and wasn't truly coachable.
If you're not coachable, there is no cure. Now, I do want to add something here, Darren, we didn't really talk about before, but AI can be a useful tool in the coaching process. And I want to be clear when I say in the coaching process. Recently I aligned myself with Mr. Varun Puri, who is the founder of Udly, which is an AI speech coach tool released to Toastmasters, to National Speaker Association. It's being used globally now, and I was happy to be with Craig Valentine, one of the first few users and testers of it. It has grown exponentially in the last 6 months. And basically what Udly provides, it'll record a coaching session, and it provides analytics of how you deliver. Do you speak too fast? Did you speak too slow? It has all those wonderful analytics. It'll even suggest to you how you could have said something differently when it hears you deliver your script. I smile at that because the AI intelligently offers you a wonderful alternative to how you can deliver your presentation. However, the coach knows you. The coach knows your personality. The coach knows your style. So right now, while AI tools like Udly can certainly offer you nice, clean alternatives to what you provide, your coach knows your personality and your personal style. And your coach may say, that's grammatically correct, it flows well. But I know you, I know your style. Therefore, I recommend you do this. Use dialogue here. And you will find that the tool is wonderful. But the qualified coach who knows and guides and leads you, AI will not replace that. I'll say it again. AI will not replace the qualified coach who knows you, your style, your personality, and who's committed to helping the best of you come out. Having that qualified coach giving qualified feedback will enhance anything the AI will give, but that's a powerful experience you will not get from anybody else but your coach. I want to be very clear on that. I'm not knocking the AI. I use Udly myself on every coaching call, but the comments they get are coming from me and my experience, my perspective, and my vantage point. And so far, I haven't had anybody complain that the AI was better than I was. And I don't say it arrogantly. Please don't get me wrong. I cannot stress enough, having the human element of someone who knows you can be a game changer.
Thank you, Mark. Again, we invite you to check out our brand new LinkedIn group and put in, what did you think of this episode? What were your comments on this episode? And then what was your favorite episode? So check it out, something new. So you might be the first one to be on there. But welcome. We welcome questions and love to see if we can continue the conversation like Oprah did after the show. Continue the conversation. So check it out on LinkedIn and look up Unforgettable Presentations Podcast Group. And we'd love to see where this goes. We have no idea, but hey, we waited 200 episodes before we introduced this.
That's right.
We could work out the
Here we are. Yes, sir.
But again, foundational phrases, speech titles and points of wisdom, analogies and metaphors. But all in all, you still need that feedback. We'd love to have you join us in Stage Time. Go to stagetimeuniversity.com. We'd love to have you come to one of our workshops. Next one coming up called Own the Stage. Join us live or hybrid. Use the discount code POD, POD 25, and then we'll know you came from the podcast. So I'll give you 25% off. By the way, the sooner you sign up, the less of your investment. So do it now. Save your seat. Would love to have you. You'll see a whole new understanding, and you'll literally watch the transformation. So Mark Brown, final thoughts.
My final thoughts are, we have no idea how helpful AI can be. Think of it as an intern. Test it, try it, use it, and see how well it can help you. And remember, it'll never replace what you do, will not replace your coach, but it could be really part of a good team to help you go from good to great, unforgettable.
Hey there, this is Darren LaCroix. Thanks for checking out this podcast episode on YouTube. If you want all of them, not every one is on YouTube, check out your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode. Keep being a sponge so you can be unforgettable.
Check out StagetimeUniversity.com, where good presenters become unforgettable.
And hey, if you're still listening, join us next week where we're going to go into Mark Brown delivering a speech in French. What? Oui, oui.